beyond that. Our objective is to inculcate a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship within the country. With that innovative mindset and innovation, how we encourage it is through multiple challenges and contests that you all participate in every year. And every year through these challenges, like the ATL Marathon, the App Innovation Challenge, we come across several such great innovation and ideas from all of you. So kudos to all your innovation and ideas and your creativity, which is adding value to the innovation ecosystem of the country and also solving your community problems and issues. On this day today, which is on the occasion of Intellectual Property Day, World Intellectual Property Day, which is celebrated every year on 26th of April, we are organizing a 3 days webinar workshop series where you could learn more about intellectual property. The importance of this day, Intellectual Property Day, is to create an awareness about intellectual property and also to celebrate the great innovations and the role that all these innovators are playing in developing the societies around them. And you all are doing that. We at Atal Innovation Mission applaud you for those efforts and for your constant quest in terms of innovative ideas and solving community issues. We have with us today a very special guest. We have with us Miss Miss Sobti, who is joining us from CIPAM. She is the Assistant Vice President, and she is here with us today to share more on the importance of intellectual property on the innovation ecosystem. CIPAM, which has partnered with Atal Innovation Mission, which is the cell for IPR promotion and management, is a professional body under the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion. It ensures focused action on issues related to IPRs and addresses the identified objectives of the policy. It also assists in simplifying and streamlining of IP processes, apart from undertaking steps for further IPR awareness, commercialization, and enforcement. This is one such initiative in collaboration with Atal Innovation Mission, where CIPAM has come together, not just for these series of sessions that we're hosting over the next 3 days, which is starting 25th, 26th, and 27th of April, but also in terms of constantly supporting and driving the innovation and IP related activities for Atal Innovation Mission. We also have a module in collaboration with CIPAM, which is available on the AIM website, and later we'll share more about it. To give a very brief introduction about Ms. Pearl Sobti, she is an experienced IP professional. Having completed her master's in science and pharmacy from Punjab University, she went on to work with top pharmaceutical companies for over 17 years. She has an extensive experience in the field of intellectual property and is also a registered patent agent. Ms. Sobti, welcome to the session, and thank you for sharing your thoughts and experience with all the students, teachers, and mentors who are joining us today. They will indeed benefit from this session because innovation definitely is a key part of, intellectual property is a key part of their innovation journey. And innovation journey starts with research, ideation, innovation, prototyping, but it doesn't end there. A lot of work goes into the next steps, which are so important in terms of protecting the ideas or work that the students have done or the ideas that have been created by the teams that work together. So this being such an important step in their innovation journey, we felt this is a great opportunity for us and the students and the entire ecosystem of Atal Innovation Mission and ATL to learn more from you through your experience and through your knowledge about this subject matter. Over to you, Ms. Sobti, for a few words before we move on to the actual questions and answers. And we've received a lot of good questions from the teachers and students. And I personally have a few questions to understand more about IP. So over to you for a few words, and then we'll start our questions.
Thank you so much, Dipali, and thank you, Atal Innovation Missions, to connect with CIPAM and to help us connect with so many wonderful entrepreneurs, students, mentors, faculties who have been instrumental in setting up an innovation ecosystem in India. So before we get into what is intellectual property and then details about intellectual property, but I thought it makes sense to give us insight into what is we as an organization are looking forward from you talented kids. from the talented kids of Atal Innovation Mission. We are looking for creativity. We are looking for an open mindedness. We are looking for out of box thinking. We are looking for you should be free of any stress, free of any kind of uh, problems which you face during innovation. That's part of your cycle. Enjoy your innovation journey. Don't take it as your mission that you have to file a patent or a trademark. That's the next step. First step is be free, be enjoying, follow your passion. That's the first step. If Einstein wouldn't have followed his invention, we would not have got such a wonderful inventions which we have. So you also as kid are free to think whatever you want, free to think whatever you want to make, free of any pressure, whether it's from your peer group, whether from your teachers or your parents. Enjoy your life, follow your passion, and you will be able to innovate to the extent you would even never have believed on yourself. So that's what our ultimate goal is. We want kids who are real ready entrepreneurs and have a next level of thinking.
That's very valuable, Miss Sobti, and I truly echo with your thoughts that before we move on to anything IP and patents and all these complicated terms and words, I think you should just start small. Start small by being open-minded, thinking of solutions to problems around you, and being creative and having fun with it, having fun with this whole process of creating something, and not really coming in the binds of process and system and technicalities of it. So very, very rightly said, and I
So,
do encourage
so
students to
that's
do
the
that.
reason CPAM also has a clarion call of Creative India, Innovative India. So the first step is being creative, and the next steps follow on.
Absolutely, and hence this is a great partnership and collaboration between Atal Innovation Mission and CPAM, where we encourage innovation and entrepreneurship, and the entire ecosystem comes together like CPAM to help build that further and develop that further among students and assist them in that journey. So very well said, Ms. Sopti. Thank you for those inspiring words for the students, and I'm sure for all those of you who've already created something, will continue creating more, and for all those of you who haven't yet, start now. It's a good chance to start your journey now with innovating something. You will hear more today about how innovation requires open-mindedness, but when you are actually in that journey, it requires a lot of patience also, and persistence. That patience and persistence doesn't end when you have a product, but it goes on because there is an IP process waiting for you. And we'll hear more about what it all means. So I'll start with very basics, Ms. Sopti. Tell us about what really is intellectual property and what are the various types of intellectual properties that exist.
So intellectual property, like any other property, is the right of the owner who
Mhm.
has created that property, which but the difference being it is intangible in nature and is created by human intellect. So like the property we have, which is house or say a phone or something else, so which we can touch, so we know if we have a phone we can touch it, we can feel it. But intellectual property is intangible, you can't feel and touch it, but that has a value, and it is created by an human intellect value. So that human intellect may be in the form of a painting or a drawing or a song or an invention or a design or something like which is our heritage, which is kind of a geographical indication, or even a plant variety which is developed by a farmer or a breeder based on his efforts. So all this which is part of human intellect and intangible forms a part of intellectual property. So there are different types of intellectual property, starting from patents, which is the most important in IP for your kids as well, for Atal Innovation Mission, as well as across India being a pharma hub and a chemical hub. So patents in play an important role. But other than that, we have trademark, designs, copyright, geographical indication. Geographical indication is also important because India being has a rich cultural heritage, so geographical indication also play a part. Then there is semiconductor integrated circuit layout design, which is also important for say electronic circuits. And lastly, which we were discussing earlier, plant varieties. So these are the broadly different intellectual properties which exist in India.
Wonderful. So basically, anything which I can't hold in my hand, or anything which I've thought of and created with my intellect is an intellectual property.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you say you can hold you have invented intellect mobile. You can hold it in your hand, but the invention which you did to make that mobile, that you can't hold in your hand. You're holding the product in your hand. So the invention which you did, so say you have composed a music, you have composed a poem, you have composed you have written a story, you can't.
So say I have created an innovation through coding. Can I file a patent for it?
You can
Copyright for
file
it?
intellectual property on it, but there is a difference that in India you can't file a patent on it. You would have to go through a copyright way.
That
So
brings me to my next question, that what is the difference between a patent, a copyright, and an intellectual property?
so intellectual property is a broad term
Hmm.
which has subtypes, say patent or a copyright.
Hmm.
Copyright is more of literary work, which is either a drawing, poem, or music, or the music composers' tunes which they make, even the ringtones which we had of Nokia, or even Xiaomi has a ringtones characteristic. So all those form part of copyright, which is literary work,
Hmm.
whereas literary artistic work, on the second hand, where the patent is related to an invention which was not known to the public before you invented it, which was not obvious to the public before you invented it. So that's what is a patent. Patent is related to an invention in a technological area, whereas copyright is more of artistic work, literary work.
All right. So by that definition, if I've created an innovation through coding, or I have used STEM education to create some innovation, then it can be filed for a patent.
No, coding in patents, there are certain exclusions given in Indian patent law.
Hmm.
There are countries like US which allow a software patent to be get granted. But in India, you cannot get a patent on software or coding. You have to combine that software with a hardware to get a patent. Software per se, you have to get copyrighted. So a coding, if it's only code, the code which you have written
Right.
has to be filed through copyright. But if you attach something, a function to it, that if you do this code, the computer would give this thing, and the computer hardware will work this way. So if you attach that code with some hardware component, then you can get a patent in India as well.
All right. That clears a lot of myth around it, around copyright versus patent, and in terms of the types of innovations and which ones can be filed for copyright versus patents. So that's useful. Thank you, Ms. Sopti. How do we know when there is all, if we can actually register for an IP for our particular invention? How do we know if it already does exist or does not exist? What is
So
the way we can find that out?
So first in your mind, you will have to identify key features of your product, whether it's, say, if you have invented a mobile wherein if it has this kind of touch button. So you would have to identify key features of your product, and then you have to search those key features in the databases which are available online, say which is easily available, Google patents, or you have to search e-space patents, or you can go to Indian Patent Office site and search in the claims portion or in the special. So patents have different portions of, in their complete patent has different portions. So you would have to search your invention, whether it there exists any invention in the claims or in the specification which claims the same product as yours. So you may search through Google Patents, eSpaceNet. You can search through US Patent Office. You can search through Indian Patent Office. So you would have to search the key features on the Patent Office sites, and then identify whether whatever hits you get, how close or how different your product is with those products. And then you will be able to identify what is the different or novel feature in your product. So, say an example, say I was taking a mobile with a touch screen or a touchpad. You search this and you find out that in the already known there is square touch button, or when you touch it makes a sound but it doesn't vibrate, and your product vibrates as well as makes a sound. So your product has a novelty that your product vibrates as well as make a sound, whereas which was known to the public was only making a sound. So because vibration can be sometimes important, sometimes we are in a meeting, sound may not be there, so vibration is equally important. So this way you can show the utility as well of your product. I
Understood.
hope this clarifies the questions.
Yes. So basically, there has to be a unique aspect to your product. You can check if there are already existing innovations in that space, and if there is a unique aspect to yours, which is even slightly unique or a few modifications from what already exists, then it is eligible to be filed for a
Yeah.
patent. Okay, understood. All right. Um, so on this similar question, where can people get more help? Because I understand some of these questions you are clearing the myth for us, but there could be many more such intricacies or technicalities involved in this. And is there an agency or a support system that is available for innovators when they are wanting to file their patents or copyrights? How can they get help?
So there is agency which is Indian Patent Office, which helps to file in filing the patents, which helps you to prosecute and get the rights over the patents. But if you ask on whether they can help you in filing, which is the process of filing, so then you will have to connect with some patent agent. So there is a list of patent agent available on Indian Patent Office site, wherein you can touch base with whatever, because it mentions this patent agent which technical field he is. So there is a patent agent who is in pharma field, there is a patent agent who is in chemistry field, there is a patent agent who is in telecommunication. So there's a list available. You can go through that list and you can try. It's not always that you try one and he'll revert. You will have to try 2 3 people, and then there would be people who would be keen to help or would ready to help you or assist you. So that could be one way of doing that.
Okay, that's good to know that there is an agency that supports it, and there are agents as well, like yourself, if I may mention. So you're also a patent agent yourself, supporting people who have innovated to file their patents and copyrights. So that's a ray of hope and help support system available for all innovators, and go ahead and utilize it. Um, so on this similar question, while I know that, okay, what do I need to file? Maybe a patent or a copyright. I'm able to differentiate that. I understand there's a support system available. And I also understand that how do I find my eligibility in terms of, other products being available or innovations being available and my uniqueness. Now, how do I know when is the right time? Because sometimes the timing can be very important because there could be multiple people thinking of a similar idea and innovation. How do I know that this is the right time I'm ready to file? At what stage should a patent be filed or a
So,
copyright? Yeah.
so the main 2 points which you should always remember is do not disclose your invention to anyone else till you file your application. So there is a famous quote which says, publish and perish. So which means if you publish your invention before you have filed an application, you would not be able to get a patent on that. So it is important that you file your application and then you disclose your application or publish your details of your invention at some other place. Second, there is another rule which is first to invent. First to invent and first to file. So India follows a system of first to file. So whoever files your the application first has the right to patent. So you should not delay the process of filing to such an extent that if say two people are working on the same project, on a similar project, so whoever goes to the patent office and files it first will get the invention, will get the patent. So you have to keep in mind that once you are ready with a prototype, once you are ready with a basic understanding. So there are two phases in patent application filing. One is provisional, and then after 1 year, you have a complete specification. So what you should do is file provisional as soon as you have some kind of a basic prototype ready. And once you file a provisional, even after that somebody files, so your priority date remains. So now he can't challenge your priority date because you have filed earlier. So after that, you will get 1 year to further modify your prototype and further tweak it and make it better or make some improvements in it. So you have 1 year time in which you can use it to your benefit. But it makes sense to file first and then make any disclosures or make any publications to it. And for some business reasons, if you, because these are kids, I'm not sure they would get to this extent, but for some reason, if you have to disclose some of your invention to somebody else, sign a non-disclosure agreement with them. Do not disclose your invention before it is filed, a patent application has been filed.
So, in terms of the stage for an individual to file a patent, it should be at a prototype stage, to
Yeah.
summarize. And there is still time to improvise on it, to refine your prototype. But while you're doing that refining, it is a good timing and opportunity for you to check your eligibility and see if there are other such innovations existing. If you're eligible, then must try for an IP, and you have all the support system and help available to do that.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you, Ms. Sobti. Um, Now we've talked about the importance of IP and what it means. Why would How would it contribute to the nation's development? How do you think intellectual property is an important aspect for a country or nation's development?
So, to tell you very frankly, that unless and until we have an innovation ecosystem in the country, that system, that country, that nation is not sustainable in the long run. So we had started with a global innovation index of 81th rank in 2015, and we have reached less than 40. So currently India's rank is 48. So we are looking forward that we should increase our rank to much beyond our capacity, and we should push so that we increase the rank. So why is it important that we are pushing that we should have a higher rank, or why we are pushing for an innovation ecosystem? So I will tell you an analogy on this, that say you have a land at one place, and you know that that land, there is no police, there is no judiciary who would help you enforce your right on that land. Would you go and buy a property there, spend your money there? No. You would want where your money is safe. Similarly, if we do not have an IPO ecosystem, somebody who has invention would not like to come to India, because they would feel that in India or any country would steal that information, steal their right. So for investment purpose, for foreign investment. And secondly, if our inventions, say somebody from Atal Innovation Lab discovers invents something which is of high value, and he doesn't get a protection, so his human intellect which he had put into it, his capability would go waste. He would not have an exclusive right. So IP provides them an exclusive right on their property. And if this right is not there, so people would not have a motivation, would not have enough expenditure on R&D. They would not spend on R&D because they'll not get any benefit out of it. If they put efforts in R&D and identify some products, and once the product is discovered or invented, what would happen? So everybody would be copying it. So who would spend on that R&D? Nobody would want to spend on R&D. So that's the reason that IP has been currently considered as a backbone of the economy. This much importance has been given that we are reaching to grassroots levels, we are reaching to kids, so that innovation at any level doesn't go a skip. We are able to capture each and every contributor to IP, and the IP rights that person has or should have should be given to that. So because this IP will in long run lead to sustainability of our economy, and we want the IP rights of the inventors, of the music composers be respected by everyone. So that's the reason we are so aggressively pushing for IP rights in India.
And also to mention that it somewhere also contributes to our Honorable Prime Minister's call to the nation for an Atmanirbhar Bharat, his vision for an Atmanirbhar Bharat. These are factors that link to it. You know, if we have more and more innovations coming from within the Indian ecosystem, then that in a way also defines us being more self-reliant, self-sufficient, and Atmanirbhar, like he mentions. Okay, wonderful. Now, one last question before we move on to a few other things. How do you think our young innovators who are listening in, and if not, we'll be sharing this, this session with them later, the students and who are our innovators in the ecosystem, how do they benefit from filing an IPR, and how does it benefit their overall innovation journey? Why, what is in it for them? Why should they be doing this process of, filing for it and understanding the intricacies of it? And it can be a long process and sometimes with its own share of hurdles. What is the benefit that they will get?
So there are two benefits, I'll tell you. If you have an ultimate motive of becoming the entrepreneur yourself, so you would want your product to be exclusive. You want nobody else to be copying it. You wouldn't want, say you have I invented a dairy milk chocolate. You wouldn't want everybody selling the same dairy milk chocolate, even though you have put in that efforts in it. So to have a commercial value to your product, to have incentives of inventing an invention, you should file to protect your invention, because if you do not have an IP on your product, everybody, it and it's a good product, everybody would act as vulture and take a share of your profit. Obviously you would not like to share your a part of your profit with somebody else when it's your hard earned efforts and money which you have put in. So that's the reason it's important that you put in efforts not only in developing your invention, but also efforts in protecting your IP suitably. Second part, say for example, you don't want to be an entrepreneur, but you have an inclination on inventions, you keep on inventing, but you would want some to license your product to some a bigger company who would eventually can say commercialize the product or take it to the next level. But would you want it to go free? You have put in effort, you, it's your mind, it's your invention, you would want it to go free. Why should you go want it to go free? You should have a IP on that, so that through IP you can put in a licensing deal into it, that if I give you my IP, then you will give me this amount of money. So, and for a bigger, think from a bigger company's point of view, they take a product from you which doesn't have an IP, and once they launch, everybody joins in. So, what is the benefit they will have? Whereas we have seen that startups who have an IP attached to their product have better valuation as compared to who do not have, because their IP gives them an exclusive right, which is an additional advantage onto your concept, your product. So that's the reason it is very important whether you want to be yourself an entrepreneur or you want to sell this product to some other entrepreneur or a startup or a company. Your IP will provide you additional royalties, additional benefits, and that would give you that exclusivity which you are looking for.
That's an excellent point that you brought forward, that do you want to be just an innovator, or do you want to eventually become an entrepreneur, become someone bigger? And how do you do that? Very rightly mentioned that it may be a long process or a tedious process, but it's worth every bit of that effort that you put in, because it is truly that last mile in terms of securing your innovation, to ensure and make sure that you have that exclusivity attached to it for yourself. And it is worth the efforts, because not only from a profits or exclusivity point of view, but that's where the true recognition comes for what you have created. You are a proud owner of a copyright or a patent. You have created something, and that's the mark or a stamp of innovation or excellence on it, that this is something that you have created. And it goes a long way in saying, I haven't just created products or innovations, I have patented, I've copyrighted products and innovation or any new thing that you have or idea that you've come up with. It actually is the final touch to really ensure that you have something tangible. While we started the conversation saying it's intangible, but to have an IP is really to make it tangible and say that my idea or an innovation is copyrighted or is patented and has an IPR attached to it. And I think it's truly worth every bit of effort. And I would say that with all that you shared with us, Ms. Sobti, I think there is a very strong support system available. It's only a matter of awareness and understanding that better. And Atal Innovation Mission, in collaboration with CIPAM, has that intent with these sessions that we're organizing over the next 3 days on occasion of World Intellectual Property Day, that we are creating that awareness. Today was one session, but we have workshops planned over next 3 days, 25th, 26th, 27th April, where you can join in to understand more. We'll have experts come in and share their experience and share with you the entire process that is involved in, filing for an IPR. They'll also have some demo sessions for you, which will help you understand better how do you really go about the entire process. There'll be an opportunity for you to ask questions and understand better. And through some of these initiatives, I think we will continue to create that understanding and awareness in the ecosystem, which is much needed because we have such great inventions and innovative ideas coming from the students through the marathons and various challenges every year. And it's inspiring to see that. And it's a great job. And we would at Adult Innovation Mission be very proud and would really be happy to see many of these being patented and copyrighted. We already have a few, and they are already inspiring stories for the rest, and you are an inspiration for so many others. But irrespective, continue innovating, creating. This is the last step, but don't miss out on this step of securing your idea, prototype, product, and innovation. With this, these were all the questions I had and we had received from students and teachers. We'll have more questions, and we will share those, and feel free to write into us if you have any questions. We will be happy to support you and answer those questions with regards to IPR. I also have my colleague Vishnupriya with me here today, and she is a part of the ATL team. She will be sharing with us and walking us through the great work that has already been done in collaboration with CIPAM on a module that we've developed together. It was already launched, but it's a reminder that there is a host of repository and materials and information available for you to understand more on this topic. And we will quickly share with you where it is. So over to you, Vishnupriya.
Thank you so much, Dipali, and thank you, Ms. Sobti, for the insightful discussion. We have two questions from the YouTube chat, actually, and if I think we have time and we can take those two questions. So first one is, can a group of students file for a patent, or is it just an individual? Because a lot of school students work in group together and create projects. And, since the last step is, filing for an IP, what would your answer be to this question?
Yeah. Any number of inventors can join and file a patent. So that patent would be equally assigned to all of them. So even not only schools or students, but even if you see the companies also, they work in a team. So all the members of the team who contributed to the inventive step of the patent are inventors in that patent. So any number of students who have contributed to the invention can be inventors in a patent.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think that is a very important point because teamwork is a pillar on which the ATL program stands. And the credit goes to all the students who work together, collaborate, and come up with wonderful innovations that actually solve real-time community problems. So thank you for giving us that clarity. One last question is it possible to unintentionally infringe upon a copyright or patent that was created by someone else? How can this be avoided? So if you are on the other end, if you use some invention that was already patented, then how do you protect yourself from, infringing upon that right?
So this concept is called infringement in the legal technical terms, that if you infringe somebody else's patent. So this is also when you do a search while you have developed a prototype and you identify that there are prior arts available. So in that case, you will have to identify which are closer to your product, and then you will have to see so that is what I was telling, that in maybe in the workshops which you will have in the future, in these 3 days there would be a workshop on specifically on patents, wherein they'll talk about what are the components or the parts of the patents. So there is a part wherein it says claims. So claim is the part of the patent which defines the right of the owner. So if you infringe any of the patent's claim, so then you have to design around. You would have to tweak your prototype You would have to change it so that you do not fall within the claim language of that patent.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. And I think that certainly gives guidance to a lot of students out there, referring to all the inventions that already exist to, get that inspiration and create new innovations. So thank you for that. Now I will just quickly run through the ATL module on intellectual property rights that was created some time ago in collaboration with CIPAM. I'll just share my screen and show you the module. To access the ATL module on IPR, visit the AIM's official website, which is aim.gov.in. Go to AIM Initiatives and click on Atal Tinkering Lab. Once you have the ATL page open, click on ATL Curriculum and select the language of your choice. Within ATL curriculum, as you can see, there are a lot of resources available for consumption by schools and schools, students, teachers across the country, and this is all available for free. And it covers a variety of topics. So for IPR, select the intellectual property module option. This opens up the page to the IP module. And as you can see here, if you click on any of the links, so for instance, if you click on a guide to intellectual property rights, you get, okay, yeah. So you get detailed content about what an IP is. Here you can learn all about patents, trademarks, copyrights, and design, most of which we have already touched upon in the session today. So here you will find all the details. Again, you have a separate section for copyright, trademark, patents, etc. So make sure to go through all this content available and see how your innovation can fit into either of these and apply for it to complete your innovation journey. So I hope this is helpful. We will also be linking the module on our social media and on this YouTube live chat so that you can also refer to it later. So thank you so much. Over to you, Dipali.
Thank you, Vishnupriya, for sharing with everyone where our module is on the ATL page. Please go ahead and take a look at it, and we are happy to organize, based on your request, few more sessions. If you enjoyed this session and if you have more questions, we're happy to organize another session with you all. Send us your questions and we'll be happy to do that. Meanwhile, please do join us for our sessions planned on 25th, 26th, and 27th April on occasion of World IPR Day. And we are looking forward to your participation and more innovations and more IPRs coming through from the Atal Innovation Mission ecosystem and from student innovators. Continue to tinker, continue to innovate, and have a broad mind, open mind, like Ms. Sobti mentioned. Don't think about various technicalities, but think about how you can solve a problem. And that itself will cause or create ways for you to achieve your dream or your journey and follow your passion. Ms. Sobti, thank you so much for joining us today. I think this was a very insightful session for everyone in terms of clearing a lot of doubts and myths around what really is IP all about. And we'll share this YouTube live with our viewers who couldn't join us today, with our students and teachers who were not able to participate in the session today, but this is available for you to watch at a later stage. Share your knowledge and experience with your friends, family, and help people create more and more innovations and patent them or copyright them, because that's where the true mark of innovation comes in, and it makes us as a country proud, and it helps us create an Atmanirbhar Bharat. So thank you all for joining us again, and we look forward to talking to you and our future YT lives. Thank you.
Thank
Stay
you so
safe
much.
and stay
Thank you.
healthy.
All the best and keep innovating, keep being creative. All the best, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.